Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, February 29th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts in your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts, then this will be a video for you. Also, I am going to try something new here, and I'm going to do Bitcoin at the very end. I realize some people don't care about crypto, but if you do, then definitely stay around until the end of the video, and I will cover the Bitcoin chart. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there is moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, ADIL. And this one had quite the eventful day today. Big move up and is now pulling back here, but that is what in and of itself is creating the pattern here that has formed. So let's get this pattern in place. So yes, it's pulled back, and that pullback is best seen, at least in my opinion, via that trend line right there. You can see this level rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price. So it's got quite a track record of, well, rejecting the price. So I would definitely keep an eye on that if you're someone that likes to try to play turnarounds and answer the question, okay, when is a turnaround officially strong? You can make an argument, well, the turnaround is officially strong if it can break above that area. So keep an eye on that level if you like to play those sorts of scenarios. Or if you just like to play overall patterns and potential bounces, then there's an interesting level down here at the $1.37 mark. Let me change that to green to represent support. And then maybe make this easier to see. Let's keep it all one color as far as the pattern is concerned. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge move up right there. If you make it a little bit more visual, let me put the golf hole down here for you golfers. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because it's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure or guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But is it plausible that the price could try to get itself turned around, whether that being coming down to here and bouncing, or if it just goes right up to that trend line and breaks through there? Could that break in of itself create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennants, keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol MARA. And first I'm going to do is a little house cleaning here because just, I don't know, when I pull this up, just feels kind of congested. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. Yes, it still does pertain, but like I said, from a presentation standpoint and not wanting to risk confusion because there's lines and clutter everywhere, I want to try to keep this clean as possible. But now with that being said, I'm going to make another adjustment. And the key dynamic here is, well, what direction is this adjustment being made? And I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance right up here to $33.50. And whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, assuming you're bullish, that is definitely a good thing. But overall, yeah, disappointing day depending on your perspective. If you're a day trader and you bought that breakout right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, from that perspective, yeah, the chart looks really bad because it completely turned around on you. With that being said, if you care about the bigger picture point of view, then overall, as you can see right there, the price is still very much so in an overall uptrend. So from that angle, nothing, not a big deal. Everything is perfectly healthy. Price is still up above 28.85, which is what I talked about in yesterday's video. And we also have the purple line there, 50 period moving average, continue to move upwards. But on that note, because it is a moving average, that purple line is going to move itself above the 28.85 mark. And at that point, it'll become a higher priority level of support. So yes, 28.85 is still a level of support, but tomorrow when that purple line crosses up above it, that'll just take a higher priority. But moral of the story from the big picture of things, this thing continues putting those higher lows, and that's what matters most. Next one, VANI, absolutely monster move today. Got a bit of a pullback, but we also now have one of these situations where you got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. So please don't think I'm trying to impress you or imply that that's a great discovery or skill on my part. A lot of people have done that. And I emphasize that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So guarantees do not exist, but is it plausible that if the price comes up there and breaks through that level, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like these sorts of situations where you get, and obviously this one can move and move very quickly as it demonstrated today. So yes, it's pulled back, but still a lot of people talking about it, still a good amount of volume. So if this thing can turn itself around, if you like those sorts of potential scenarios, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, SOUN, and this will mean a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level because I mean a little bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video because I put this trend line in play, and then watch as I extend this trend line out. You can see right here that the price is still doing a very good job of honoring it. And then what I also want to add in is just another trend line right here because this is what's now giving us the pattern here. So change that to green. So let me make this a little bit easier to see, and then keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge move up right there. We have the golf hole down here. This would just be one big old multi-day bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, you like this price range, definitely keep an eye on it. By this point, I'm sure you've heard of SOUN. I've seen it come across the scanner. It's been moving nicely the past couple of days. Sure, things pulled back a little bit more today, but again, from the big picture point of view, everything is still perfectly fine. Day traders that bought right there and wanted to sell within 20 minutes, not so good for them. But if you care about the bigger picture, it's just a pullback, and as long as the price stays above the keys levels of support, both that support trend line right there and that 50 period moving average, then overall the health is completely fine. Next one, AMC, and the very nice move continues, higher highs and higher lows. So the first adjustment I'm going to do is just adjust this up to where the party stopped today and right up there at 508. And like we just talked about, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted upwards, assuming you're bullish, that is definitely a good sign. So yeah, there was a bit of a pullback today, but it put in the higher base, and I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level of support up to where that pullback finally stopped, and that was right there at $4.80. And again, assuming you're bullish, if a level of support needs to be adjusted upwards, that is also a very good thing. But to make this extra simple, as I've talked about in a couple other charts, just watch out purple line there, 50 period moving average. So as that line moves itself higher and higher, if you want to just envision that as a trend line that's drawing itself for you, then as long as the price stays above the trend line, then the overall trend is still perfectly healthy. So higher highs and higher lows for AMC over the past several days. We'll see if it can continue over the next couple of days. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page to click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. Next one, ticker symbol IBIT, and bigger move here. And yes, this is tied to Bitcoin in and of itself. So if you don't want to trade Bitcoin straight up, this is a way you could get involved with it. But overall, made a big move up here. So once more, we have that idea of perspective. Day traders buying right there, wanting to sell within 10 minutes, not so good. But if you care about the bigger picture of things, yes, the price has, in fact, let me get this actually drawn up with some of the hardline levels. So we have our resistance. We have our support. And yes, I'm just leaving this part off just because that's, that really happened, but in my mind, I think this is still more than accurate. But if you disagree, then I have no problem with that. But I think this is still a more than fair interpretation. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. The biggest difference here, I would just say, is this is a stock that's up over the $30 range. The other ones were down lower. So if you prefer to, bring up your price per share a little bit, and you like bull pennants, then this would be a way to do it. Next one, BETS, and I like this one just because we have such a well-defined area. So like I said on a previous one, I'm not trying to press you. This is not a special skill, but you got to think a lot of people have noticed that right there around the 485 mark, there's been a whole lot of resistance that's occurred there, and then, just kind of hovering right below it right there. So while that does not guarantee anything, it does still make it more than plausible that if the price can come up here and break up through it, self-fulfilling prophecy, whatever you want to call it, could that create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a more than plausible situation. And in my mind, it's really as straightforward as that. Big move up, consolidating, but within consolidating has now created this very well-defined level. It's gotten some higher lows, so that makes it a little bit interesting too. A couple stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So does it turn itself around and then break up through that area? Certainly worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like breakouts and playing stocks down below $10. Next one, TSLA Tesla, an overall good day here. In fact, got back above 201.50. So first update that needs to happen, and just based on general charting rules, when levels of resistance are broken above, you want to see them act as support, and that actually played out perfectly right here. You can see got above it, pulled back, and then is now going sideways right at that level. Now, if the price does drop down below 201.50, that doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or anything like that. But preferably speaking, if the price could stay above it, that would make the chart look the healthiest moving forward. I am also going to delete that line out because we have the other area of support down there, that 50 period moving average, which I've talked about a couple of times now. So keep an eye on that. So in the very near term, 201.50, and then that next level of support, 50 period moving average. In terms of levels of resistance, what I am going to do here now that we have more data is adjust this level down, because you can see essentially right here at the 205.50 mark, we have a high right here, and then you had this area where, this very nice move, that's where it essentially ran out of momentum before rolling back over. But it's still within striking distance. So you got to think a whole lot of people are watching 205.50. Tesla is a very popular stock. So you can definitely, bring about that potential self-fulfilling prophecy nature of things if it can get the break of 205.50. So all things considered, good day, put in a higher high, higher low, and that's what you want. Next one, CLSK, and tricky once more from a perspective standpoint, because in the very near term, buying as a day trader there, or buying as a day trader there, or even, buying some sort of dip right there, all those from the day trading standpoint have put you in a very, very rough spot, because this thing has pulled back quite a bit. With all that being said, as I zoom things out here, you can see that the overall trend, very much so, still in the upwards direction. So with that in mind, a couple of key levels to watch moving forward. Initially, from the resistance standpoint, you're going to want to watch that purple line right there, based on that rule that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And we had a perfect example of that. Price broke down below it, and then you can see right there, try to get back above that purple line, could not do it before getting rejected back down. So keep an eye on that. And then what I would consider, I'm not going to call it a do or die level of support, but certainly a very important level of support would be that pink line down there, which is the very well-known, the very famous 200 period moving average. But there's no doubt about it. Near term, the bears seem to be picking up some, energy here. But from a grand scheme of things standpoint, and I'm going to do this very, kind of bootleg, but you essentially have a big bull flag pattern in right there from an overall arching standpoint. But yeah, bears seem to be picking up a little bit of strength here, but still some key levels of support that could very realistically provide some bounce areas. Next one here, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up. And we've been tracking this one very closely, and in particular, this channel right here, that kind of just going up and down, up and down. And yesterday there was a faulty break of the downwards part of that channel, with a channel value being there at 59.40. But today we definitely have confirmation, and the confirmation is right here. When the price broke, so let's go back here. Yesterday, price broke through it. When it came back up, what happened? It was able to bounce back through there. What happened here? It came down below it, came back up, difference being got rejected, came back up again, rejected. So that's where I am officially calling this the official breakdown to the downside. Now, that doesn't mean that the price can't get back above it, but at this point in time, yeah, that's an official break, and now 59.40, based on that rule, that supports tend to act as resistance, and that we already have an example of it right there. That's going to be priority number one in terms of levels of resistance. So keep an eye on that. And then don't, even if the price breaks above there, don't get too overconfident, because not that far away, you now have that 50 period moving average, which is curled back downwards. So keep an eye on that. And then from the support side of things, as we just talked about on the previous one, you're going to want to keep a very close eye on that 200 period moving average. If the price falls through there, then yeah, things start to space out a little bit. But this is still, once again, all happening within a general overall bullish context. But in the near term, yeah, definitely that pink line there is going to be very important to see if the price can hold above it or not. And before I get to Bitcoin, for those of you that only trade stocks, I'll wrap it up for you. But again, if you enjoyed what you saw here, then definitely go get signed up for that free live webinar. It'll be very soon, Thursday, February 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely get signed up for that. But for you Bitcoin traders, let's get on to Bitcoin. Now, one special note here, I'm no longer using the 30-minute time frame. I'm using the 4-hour time frame. So each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours. It'll help keep the chart relevant moving forward, because obviously Bitcoin is open 24/7. But yes, past few days, this thing has, in some sense of the world, gone straight up. And now we're at a very interesting spot, because it made this explosion right here. It was there and then ran all the way up there, but has now pulled back quite a bit. So the big question moving forward, is this some sort of top where there needs to be a pullback? Now, a pullback is not the same as a reversal. So I'm not saying this thing is going to reverse and crash back down, but this candle right here certainly makes things very, very interesting moving forward. And it's going to be creating a lot of question marks out there. Now, to be fair, and I think you could argue it would be actually healthy, maybe it just needs to go sideways for a little bit. Maybe it goes sideways, and then maybe in a few days, I'm back here talking about how this thing has formed some sort of bull flag pattern. So that's very realistic too. So just because it pulls back is not a bad thing, because a pullback, as you're seeing here, could just create some sort of bull pennant, bull flag type situation. What you don't want to see, though, is for the price to just all of a sudden drop straight down, because there's no bullish pattern in that. But like I said, drifting sideways or a slight pullback, that would not be any sort of cause of alarm. But as you just saw there, I would argue that's actually a good thing. It's giving the price a break, letting some distribution happen, new buyers come in, all that, while creating a bullish pattern. So definitely keep an eye on that dynamic moving forward for Bitcoin. But like I said, if you enjoyed what you see here, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and go get signed up for that free training.